how is the State Department how is the State Department planning to handle conflicting policy goals in the Middle East between the current and the incoming administration? Meaning, the incoming president has said that he doesn't necessarily feel that a ceasefire deal in Gaza is the best way to resolve the war. We obviously know Secretary Blinken, President Biden are like 100,000,000% committed to that. Is it something where there's room for sort of talking about it in negotiations, or do you continue 100% on?
I think it's very important to remember, with respect to our policy in the Middle East and with respect to all of our policies, that there is one president at a time. And Joe Biden is the president, and we will continue to pursue the policies that he has set forward. When it comes to the Middle East, we will continue to pursue an end to the war in Gaza, an end to the war in Lebanon, a surge of humanitarian assistance. And that is our duty to pursue those policies right up until noon on January 20th. And when the president-elect takes office and becomes the president of the United States, it is, of course, his right to pursue different policies, but it's still incumbent upon us that we think to pursue the policies that we believe are best situated to bring peace and stability to the region and advance the national security interests of the United States, and that's what we're going to do.
Do you anticipate on the other side of the equation that the Israelis, the Palestinians, Hamas might change their calculations based on that expectation that we're about to have an incoming president who might veer 180 degrees on policy from the current administration?
So I certainly can't speak for another government or another entity, and I wouldn't want to speculate about how they might approach this period. Obviously, foreign governments have been through transitions before. We had one 4 years ago. We had one before that, 4 years before that. We had one 8 years before that. And so they're used to dealing with transitions. And I think they understand that you have one president at a time. So I won't try to speculate about how they might deal with the various issues that we have before us. I do believe, and the Secretary continues to believe, that an end to the conflict in Gaza is not just in the interest of the Palestinian people, but it is in Israel's interest. And finding a way forward that provides not just short-term security, but lasting security for Israelis and Palestinians alike is in the interest of the government of Israel. And so we will continue to have those conversations with them. But as you have always heard us say, they're a sovereign country and they will make their own decisions. And that's true in a transition as it was true before Election Day.
I guess, so how can you, not you personally, but the State Department, the Biden administration, continue to reassure allies, particularly Israel, of long-term stability measures when you really only have a say for another however many, 8 weeks, whatever we've got left?
We can make clear to them the policies that we will pursue over the time that we have remaining in office. And we can make clear to them what we believe is in the best interest of the United States, what we believe is in the best interest of the countries in the region. But of course, an incoming president can make his own policy changes, his own policy decisions. Every president has the right to do that. And I think foreign governments are well aware of that, as the American people are well aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, can you give some insight if the Secretary has given any calls or spoken to any of his counterparts around the world as to, either reassure them on the transition or how the U.S. policy is going to change or be impacted? Could you give us some any information you have on calls,
he has had a number of calls over the past 24 hours, and without reading out any of those specifically, I will say generally, the message he has had to them has been the same message that you've heard me deliver just in the past 5 or 10 minutes, however long I've been up here. And that's that we are going to pursue the policies that we are advancing when it comes to the Middle East, when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, when it comes to supporting Ukraine, and of course, the many other policies when it comes to trying to advance stability in Haiti and trying to reach a ceasefire in Sudan, many of the other hotspots we're dealing with around the world. And I think they all have heard from us privately what they see publicly, what you saw from the President of the United States today, that we are committed to a peaceful, successful transition. That is a commitment that we take seriously. It's part of our oath it's part of how we interpret our oath of office. It's part of how we interpret our duty to the American people. When it comes to how you frame the question about making reassurances to allies or partners about the policies of a future administration, that's not something we can do. It's not something we would do. We would never presume to speak for an incoming administration because President-elect was elected by the American public. He has the right to make his own decisions. He will make his own decisions. So we will speak on what we believe are the right policies that we have set, and we'll make clear what we believe is in the long-term interests of the United States. But the incoming president will make his own decisions. And here's the thing: as I said in response to the previous question, these countries are used to dealing with the United States. They understand that we have elections every 4 years, and they understand that there are changes in policy that flow as a result of those elections. There were significant changes in policy 4 years ago when President Biden took office. And without speaking to what those may be, because it wouldn't be appropriate for me to do that, I couldn't possibly speak for another administration. I think everyone well understands that's how democracies work.
Yeah. You don't care to share any of these particular readouts?
We may have calls that we read out over the coming. We may have calls that we read out over the coming hours through our normal process. But I just meant when I speak to this kind of general conversation, I didn't want to say with respect to any particular
Specific
foreign minister. Yeah.
But are we talking just to have a sense of really working the phones, or is it just
Just had a number of calls. I would look for us to be reading out calls over the coming days.